Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is titled Be a Man or Becoming a Man. As the scriptures say, gird up thy loins and become men, as we always teach that in order for you to be a man of the Lord, you have to be a man first and foremost. We have a nation of baby boys here, ultimately because, you know, Jake have grown up without fathers, and the women assuming the roles of the male and the female, or the mother and the father. So we have a nation full of men that are basically just men in appearance only, and barely that, because you got these men that walk around with these long dreads, you know, these tight skin jeans, they sagging their ass, their pants, you know, they talk like women, they act like women, they have characteristics of women. You know, the fact that I went into the example earlier when I was leaving the gas station, it was one Jake nigga just, you know, I mean, I could read the vibe. I mean, it wasn't like altogether hostile, but at the same time it was kind of hostile, because just the fact that when you catch the attention of a Jake, they have a problem with you, you know, because they see something in you that they themselves lack, which is ultimately a female trait, you know, haterism. So the nigga was just kind of staring at me, and I knew how to perceive it, but I really didn't want to. But at the same time, and just like, that's the characteristics of these niggas in Babylon, man, and just Jake in general. They're women. Like when I'm in a boxing gym or when I'm in a gym training and stuff like that, and it's 95% men. Yeah, you got women that come in there, you know, dykes and shit like that think they're men. So they go extra hard trying to fight men in the ring, but ultimately there's no competition because we are stronger naturally. But you got a bunch of beta males that go to these gyms, man. And the fact about it is, what makes them dangerous is because these niggas can actually fight. So that's two strikes. You got a dude that know how to fight, and he's emotional like a woman. So that's a recipe for disaster. Most Jakes go to these type of places like gyms and training MMA and jiu-jitsu and boxing because they want to know how to beat up other Jakes. Okay, it's more than a self-defense mechanism, but it's more of a, I want to overtake you because I can do so. It's more of a pride thing, you know, which is a masculine trait overall, but they do it to be a terror to their own people, because you can't rationalize with niggas, man. You know, you having a bad day in the gym or you having a bad day in life, they can't rationalize with you because they don't understand. You know, they take it personal. Why are you looking at me? Why you hit me too hard? You know, they'll never look at it like perhaps that you may be in the same jacked up predicament that they may be in. So oftentimes things can go sour quick. So basically we have a bunch of men with characteristics like women, you know, long story short. And you have men like that in the truth too, you know, that refuse to step up and take care of their responsibility, and they lean on other men to get their job done, which that's not how we're supposed to be. It's one thing that we have help, we have support. But if you in this truth, man, you can't be a boy. You got to be a man. You got to get your shit together. You know, you got to take care of your responsibilities, you know. Yeah, of course, you know, there always be helping hands and men to guide you and to help you on certain things, because honestly speaking, you know, Jake has been handicapped in a society that we don't have the necessary resources and the tools to figure it all out. So, of course, you know, mentorship is always a good thing. But after a while, you got to start implementing these things in your own lives, man, and looking forward to doing them. Okay, like I told myself, I said, you know, if I can help it, I never want to live with anybody else ever again, because living with people, it's just, you feel emasculated, especially if you're a man, you know. Now, granted, you got brothers that shackle up one another, they may roommate, you know, they both have ownership of the property, that's cool. I mean, you know, some brothers thrive like that. You know, some brothers can live with other brothers and be cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, because, you know, we coming into the times that may be the case, you know, but overall, that's not an ideal situation for me. You know, do I have a problem living with brothers? Nah, fuck nah, of course not. You know, because I mean, you know, we're gonna make things work, but ideally I would prefer to have my own shit, because one thing, I don't want my habits to be an offense to him, and I don't want his habits to be an offense to me, because eventually somebody's gonna bump heads and somebody's gonna have to be the bad guy. And usually, you know, if you're the outspoken person, usually you're gonna be the one that's the bad guy, all right? Which I usually fall in that category, even if I'm not trying to be. You know, somehow, some way, you're other people's problems, even, you know, in its truth. Like, you know, you got a prime example that you come into the truth, and then, you know, you may be the head of a camp or a leader or whatever, maybe an elder or whatever, and somehow, some way, all the hate falls on your shoulders. Hell, it's like, how the fuck is this my problem? You know, like, off the time you get into the truth, you have brothers that have mothers that's not very keen on what we talk about, and somehow, some way, they look at it like that's a me problem, like that's a Mahaloya problem, because they following you when it's deeper than me. Okay, this is about Yahweh, about Shem, Yahweh Shai, but somehow, some way, I'm responsible for everybody's baby being against this system and speaking out against the black woman and all this other shit. It's my problem because I'm the one that's, you know, I'm outspoken, and, you know, I'm just, you know, when you're the head of an elder of a camp, a lot of times you're the problem, no matter what. You know, and hey, I'm cool with those odds, because hey, we're not here for you people to like us. But anyway, this is the definition. I typed in the characteristics of a man, all right? And we're going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. And we're going to get a couple of precepts. I got some precepts already lined up. But it says here, masculinity, right? Which they have some which is called toxic masculinity, which masculinity cannot be toxic, because you have to have masculine traits in order to thrive in life, in order to be a protector and a provider in your family and your tribe. So masculinity is a must. All right. It says also referred to as manhood or manliness. Encompasses traits, behaviors, and roles generally associated with men and boys. All right. Distinct from biological maleness, these traits are often shaped by cultural and social expectations, though some ways may have biological roots. Okay. And naturally, biologically, if you're a man, you have testosterone. You're supposed to have masculine traits, man. All right, and that's just how we're wired. But Babylon has totally emasculated the tenets of the Israelite man, and this is where we at. All right, it says key sociological insights. Masculinity is socially constructed, meaning that what counts as manly varies across cultures and historical periods. I should have went to the Bible dictionary of a man, because, you know, Esau is going to give his twisted bullshit, but we get it. It says in many societies, traditional markers of manhood, including providing, protecting, and procreating. Okay, now the scriptures say, a man that don't work, he don't eat. You know, now it's one thing, you get laid off, you lose your job. Okay, it happens. Shit, it happens to all of us. You know, what has happened to all of us at some point in time throughout this walk. But overall, it's how you deal with it and your willingness to bounce back. Okay, and not throw in a towel and say, you know what, I'm in this predicament, there's no way in hell for me to make it, when there's several opportunities that you can put yourself or align yourself in to do the right thing. Okay, certain jakes, you just lazy minded, you just don't have the ambition and the drive, because you just lack the motivation for whatever reason. You know, too much leisure time. I don't know, Jake got to stay off that fucking Pornhub, man. You know, that'll fuck your mind up too. If you do the research on it, constantly in a dopamine deficit, you won't have no motivation to do what you have to do. So you got to be careful there, man. Stop feeding your flesh 24/7. All right, eat some bitters or some shit, man. You know, change your diet. Get over yourself. Stop beating yourself up. Especially if you got this truth. If you got this truth and you sincere with it, then hey, you ahead of the game, my man. You just got to realize that. All right. It says hegemonic masculinity represents cultural ideals such as toughness, emotional restraint, which is hard here because in this society we're taught to be emotional. Notice they think a man that's quick to react to something in aggression, oh, that's masculinity. Nah, it's not. Actually, that's the traits of a female, because you're easily triggered. Now, granted, that's a learned behavior growing up under the tenets of Keisha and a so-called white man. That's a learned behavior. Okay, you've grown up seeing your mother curse out your father, curse out her 3 niggas on the side, curse out her other baby daddy, you know, walk around with an attitude, and you were psychologically programmed to feel the same exact way. So this is the reason why when another Jake looks at you, you quit. What the fuck you looking at, nigga? Instead of, you know what, fist pumping him or shaking his hand and shit like that. Because a lot of these Jakes, man, believe it or not, a lot of these niggas, bro, they just need I hate to say it, a lot of these niggas just need love, man. They just need just somebody to tell them it's gonna be alright, bro. And you'd be surprised on how receptive these niggas are, because I mean, they're in survival mode like you, to be technically honest. This is all they know. Okay, these are learned behaviors that Jake has learned being in Babylon, captive over 500 years. You know? So some of these Jakes just need you to tell them, look, bro, it's gonna be all good. I ain't your enemy, man. You know, and you give them a little hope. Same thing, you know. Sometimes you gotta, scriptures go into heaping hot coals upon their heads, man. So you don't always have to meet adversity with adversity if you know ways around it. And then granted, some niggas just need their ass beat because niggas are wicked, you know. But us as men in the Lord, we gotta figure out how to graduate out of these social stereotypes, man, and not follow the mindset of these niggas. Because like Apostle Gabar said, he said, look, whatever a nigga do, you gotta be opposite of that. If a nigga sag his pants, you can't do that. Okay? If a nigga is wearing his baseball cap tilt to the left, you gotta wear your shit straight. You know? If niggas like eating pork and shrimp and catfish, you gotta have the opposite diet. Nigga wanna walk around with a shiesty on, hey, walk around in a turtleneck, bro. You know? Because we not like these niggas. Even though we get equated with them, it's something different about us, man. And people are mad because they can't figure it out. Like, wait a minute, you look like them, you kind of talk like them, you may even wear the same, you know, type of style dress. You may wear Jordans and fitted hats and all this other madness. But then again, you know, you ain't like these niggas, man. You know, and that goes into let your light shine before men. You know? So us as men of the Lord, we got to operate different. Okay? You in the truth, stop sagging your motherfucking pants, man. You in this faith, pull your goddamn fucking pants up, bro. All right? That pisses me off when I see a man that's calling himself a Hebrew Israelite and he's sagging his fucking pants, man. Like, bro, like, pull your pants up, man. You ain't in the fucking world no more. And if you want to be in the world so bad, then go back in the world. Get away from us. Do what you do. Just don't bring that type of toxicity around us, man. And that's what you Jays got to understand. We're not niggas in the world. Well, some of you are. Some of you are still niggas in the world. You just know the truth. But for the most part, we ain't men in the world no more, bro. Okay, we ain't got nothing to prove to these people. We ain't got to fucking flex our muscle shit. Because I tell the nigga quick, nigga, I'm better than you on my worst fucking day, bro. And you know that shit. And I dare you to want to do something about it, nigga. I can prove you wrong real fast. You know? It's easy to get in that spirit. But it's a time and place for that. You know? But anyway. It says competitiveness, physical strength, restraint, risk-taking. These are often unattainable and influence how men are expected to behave. Yeah, because I mean, they're just manly traits. That's masculinity. We're expected to provide. We're expected to be X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're expected to do. But in retrospect, you know, it is what it is. Now, character traits often associated with being a real man. You notice they put the shit in quotation. You know? But it reads, it says, culturals versus cultural and cultural virtues, right? Courage, initiative, providing and protecting. And these are things that men of the Lord have displayed. Okay? The scriptures say he that don't provide for his own is the same as an infidel. So you got to provide for yourself. You got to provide, you know, for your household if you have a household. Hell, even if you know, like me personally, I don't believe in paying child support for a kid I don't pay for, I don't see. That's bullshit. You know, but in this society, that's how it is. So if your brothers got kids that you don't see, you know, and you got to pay that child support, hey, you still providing for the fucking kid, whether you there or not. They taking money out your check and giving it to this bitch to not support your seed. Look, at the end of the day, you did your fucking job, man. And if anybody got a problem with that, then they just full of shit, because most time they don't want the daddies in their life anyway. They just want your money. You know, so that's why the mother don't ever push for you being there, because at the end of the day, the bitch wants your money. You know, and let that shoe fit, fucking wear it. But anyway, providing and protecting self-reliance, which a lot of Jakes, you don't have that. Okay, you have a weak mindset. I can't do it. Never tell yourself you can't do it. Even if you lack the courage, get the courage, man. Put yourself in some place uncomfortable and get used to it. Take a cold shower, take an ice bath. Hell, take up a trade or something, man, you know. do something. You know, you got to put yourself in an uncomfortable zone. Like in fighting, any type of combat sport, anybody would tell you, fighting is very uncomfortable, bro. Okay, the shit hurts. You got your days when your body can move fluently. You got your days when you getting hit with shit that you ain't supposed to be getting hit with. And contrary to popular opinion, sparring, them punches don't look hard, but them shits hurt. They snap your motherfucking head back quick, make you think twice. Like, oh damn, you know. But you got to be used to being put in that because it builds your resiliency and your confidence, man. So that's a good time. Men have to be uncomfortable. Like me personally, I take cold showers most of the time, man. Hell, I take cold showers in the fucking winter. And you know what got me in the spirit of doing that? Because one winter, I didn't have no gas, no heat in my house, so I didn't have a fucking choice. I had to take a cold shower in a 40-degree apartment. Now, you know how that shit feel. Make that make sense, you know. And the shower so goddamn cold to the point 40 degrees for like 80 degrees, and you get out the shower, you warm as hell in a cold house until that cold hits your ass again, you know. So things like that force you to level up and do it. So now, you know, when I'm in the spirit and I'm not rushing and I got leisure time, I mean, I'll take a cold shower. You know, it's just good. It's good to put your body through that, your mind through that shock. They say taking a cold shower first thing in the morning, because that's the hardest thing. They said that prepares you to deal mentally with the folly that you got to deal with later on in the day, because you know some bullshit coming, you know. But anyway, it says integrity, sense of purpose, hard work, supported as more contemporary meaningful signifiers. Confidence combined with humility and respect. Self-confidence paired with humility and respect for others create balance and grounded character. Yeah, as a man, you have to respect other people's properties and their belongings, man. Okay, you have to have a certain amount of respect for your fellow man. Like me personally, you know, I require people to take their shoes off of my house. And I only require that because it's a sense of comfort, and I don't want to have to clean the goddamn carpet all the time. All right, the carpet is light colored. It stains easily. Save me the headache of having to pay to get the shit clean and do it myself, because I don't feel like doing it, you know. So, you know, brothers have that understanding. Like when I go to brothers' cribs, you know, they house like my house like their house. They can go in the refrigerator and get whatever the fuck they want to get. You know what I'm saying? I don't trip about that, you know. But even then, brothers will still ask. Like me personally, like if I go to brother crib, you know, I mean, it's to the point now I don't have to ask to go in the refrigerator, but still I'm like, hey brother, I'm gonna grab some out the refrigerator. Or, you know, if I don't ask the brother, you know, they know I mean well. It's no disrespect, you know. Like when I go to the bro Rock crib, he got a comfortable ass couch. I take my shoes off at the front door because I don't want to walk on the brother's floor. So, you know, a lot of times to get comfortable, I put like one foot on the couch, like underneath my other foot, if that makes sense, to kind of be comfortable. You know, brother know that, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't just finna go and put my feet on his table and take my socks off and clip my nails and all that other shit. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? And decency, respect. You know, and as children, we were taught manners. As manners is a big part of our culture. And I'm gonna get the scriptures, brothers. I'm driving, so just bear with me, all right? But this is good information. You know, something that we all can take into consideration in this walk. Now, for others, create balance and ground it. Yep. A lot of times you gotta balance, you know. You put more into one area than the next. And the scriptures say, you know, unrighteous balance is an abomination to the Lord. So you have to be in balance to the best of your ability. Even though it's hard in this kingdom, you have to create balance within your own life, within your own mind. And you have to make sure you're attending into this faith, man. You know, your daily bread, you know, whatever, your lessons, you know, you're praying, whether you read a couple of chapters a day, whatever it be, man. You got to attend to the spirit. You got to nourish the spirit, you know, because your spirit is what keeps you going. What else? Traits like honesty, reliability, okay? In this body, you have to be reliable, okay? If you are a cameraman or you have the tripod, we rely on you to be there because that's part of the work. Okay? If you're not reliable and the brother has to constantly carry you like you're a freaking kid, you're not reliable, okay? You have to be reliable in this thing to some degree, you know? If it's your job to pick up the chicken because we having fight night or whatever, then we expect you to be on that time, okay? We expect you to do exactly that. Hey, brother, the chicken needs to be picked up by 7:30. The fight starts at 9. have the chicken here by 8 o'clock, barbecue shop. And granted, things happen. Sometimes the shit ain't done. Sometimes they gotta recook it because, you know, they messed it up or whatever it may be. But you gotta make sure it's within your beck and call to be on point within those orders, okay? Reliability, definitely. Communication, traits like honesty, kindness, reliability, emotional maturity. You know, being mature in this thing, man. Counting the costs, you know, making sure that, you know, you're communicating certain things, make sure that you're articulate or communicating articulately, so therefore a brother could understand what's going on, and, you know, not brother be like, well, look, man, you know, I got a situation, a family emergency, I'll be at camp a little late. That's good. That's communication. Okay, cool. We make the necessary adjustments. We'll be here when you get here, you know. Some cases, you know, you may not be able to make it to the camp because of family emergency, the kid got sick, you know, whatever may come of it. You know, you communicating that instead of being a no call, no show. Like if I'm running late for camp, then I'm like, hey brother, I'm 5 minutes behind, you know, but ideally we got a grace period. Ideally, I want to start camp at 2:30. So I may have to push the time up. Hey, be there at 2:15, between 2:15 and 2:30, because I want to start and get out right on time. You know, ideally we do 2 hours in the summertime. Depending on how hot it is, we may do an hour and a half. When it's cold, we do an hour and a half, bar none, unless the spirit is really, really dealing, you know, meaning people come up. So I like to get in and get out. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to stick around too longer because, you know, we need to get in and get out. There's no point in sticking around once we're done. So if I'm running late, most times I'm like, hey, 5 minutes behind, 10 minutes behind. But ideally, brothers show up between 2:20, 2:25 to 2:35, 2:40. So we give that little grace period, you know. So you still considered on time, but still punctuality, emotional maturity, ambition. Okay, this is a big one. A lot of you jakes like ambition. All right, you don't have the ambitious spirit for whatever reason. You're down on your luck. You think low of yourself. You can't be in that spirit, man. All right, you gotta man up, get your mind right. You know, and stop being so hard on yourselves, man. Okay, because if you hard on yourself, the world is already hard on you. You're gonna be even harder on yourself. You know, give yourself some grace. Give yourself some time to mature and balance out, and recognize your talents and recognize the things that you do contribute, and focus on those things, man, instead of what you're constantly lacking in, okay? And get better in those things too. Ambition, humor, and loyalty are especially highlighted in the context of relationships. Diverse perspectives from real people. Men are more confident, less likely to use I feel, making statements with the expectations they be heard. Others added traits like humble, kind, compassionate, independent, thinker, good communicator, listener, self-reflective, hard-working, disciplined, personal drive across many domains, which is art, sports, mechanics, without arrogance. You know? So, yeah, man. Characteristics of being a man. So let's get a couple of precepts here. I got a couple of precepts. Job 38:3, gird up thy loins now like a man, for I will demand of thee, and thou answer me. Gird up the loins. Scriptures command that we gird up and be men. Okay? Not baby boys. We're supposed to be men. Isaiah 46:8. Remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. So, hey, you just going to have to man up and figure shit out. You know you can't hold a job, then you got to self-reflect on why you can't keep this job. I mean, granted, you deal with bullshit everywhere you go. You might deal with an asshole boss, and some shit you may just have to say, you know what, I got to take a backseat to it. This ain't working out. It happens, but when that's everything that you put your faith in, or everything that you put your effort in, and you being backslidden, or you backsliding, or you're moving from house to house, and you getting kicked out here, you here 1 month, you here for 2 weeks, you there 3 weeks, that's a form of instability on your behalf, you know, and it can't be everybody else's fault why you not working out. Okay, usually if you go in a room and 10 people have the same opinion about you, then 9 times out of 10 it's probably you. You know, that's when self-reflection becomes a must. 1 Maccabees 2:64. Wherefore, ye my sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law. Okay, for by it ye shall obtain glory. So definitely being a man. All right, being a man. Man up. Stop feeling sorry for yourselves. Get the appropriate support where it's needed. And a lot of you jakes, you just gonna have to swim, because a lot of you jakes, you burn your bridges because you're not doing right. Okay, you're not being upright. You know, you're using brothers, and you're using brothers as stepping stone to do what you want to do instead of contributing into the ministry. You know, First Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. Okay, so the scriptures say that in the heart of a child is folly, but the rod of correction will draw far from him. So a lot of you ain't get your ass beat enough when you were kids, and a lot of you, you didn't have the proper parenting or discipline to show you where you fucking up at, man. So therefore, you have this baby boy mentality. You pouting, you mad. Things ain't go your way. You feel like you're mad at the world. You got rebuked. Now all of a sudden, now you want to tuck your tail and go back into the world. He rebuked me. He said this to me. He said that. You got a lot of them, man. A lot of them have come, left, and went. Because a lot of men, they can't take the rebuke. Yeah, and rebuke hurts. It's hard because it makes you look at yourself. And even if you don't have the attention to be what they're saying in the rebuke, because in your spirit, you're like, that's not my intention. I know I mean well. It hurts the more because it's just like, damn, why don't they see the good trait? But, shit happens. Sometimes you got to suffer wrongfully. But regardless of it, even within a rebuke, whether you feel like it's relating to you or not, you still, need to consider it. And also, just absorb it and do better. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Being reliable, okay, doing yourself a justice, a service, and not feeling sorry for yourself. Be a man, okay? Get off that boy mentality. I can't do it. Can't is not in a man's vocabulary, okay? Now, you may not be equipped to do certain things, but even then, shit, if I can't do it, I ain't gonna let you know I can't do it. I'm gonna just try to do the shit. If I fail, I fail. Fuck it. Hell, you can't be good at everything, man. Okay? So, that's just what it is. 1 Corinthians 14:20. Brethren, be not children in understanding. Howbeit in malice ye be children, but in understanding be men. Acting like a fucking kid. You understand as a man, but you got a childlike mentality. Acting like kids. You rebuke Jake, he acts up. Now all of a sudden he wants to bring out accounts. Well, I remember when you got drunk and you said fuck everybody in the camp because they came to camp and some others. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? Well, you said that brother mother was a demon. So what? She is a demon. And your point? Hell, my mother's a demon. So now what? Do a video on that. Oh, I remember you said that the black woman was a bitch. And you almost got us jumped on by 3 black men because you was rebuking. Scripture say rebuke in the gate. Hate the evil, love the good. So what? So yeah, a bunch of baby boys, man. 1 Corinthians 16:13. Watch ye, stand fast in the faith. Quit you like men, be strong. So keep pushing, brothers, all right? With that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Hawashai. Lord's will you were edified. Lord's will this exhortation was encouraging. To the next lesson. Shalom.